class, we're going to go through lesson 4.4, which is on converting decimals to fractions and fractions to decimals. So rewriting these numbers. Okay? Let's start with the first type of number, which is converting a decimal to a fraction. Okay? There's just one step in this, and that is to read the number and then write the place of the last digit, of the last non-zero digit, as the denominator. So we have to remember how to read numbers. You can't say 0.5. How would you read this number correctly, Andreas?
0 and 5/10.
Okay, 0 and 5/10. Yep, and so what you would write is 0. You don't have to write the 0, this first 0, okay? But rather 5/10. And write the tenths place as the denominator. Okay? So it's simply reading the number 5/10 and write 5/10 or 5/10. Do you get that? Thumbs up if you get that. Okay? Now, we can't leave this as 5/10. We have to put it in simplest form. What is simplest form then, Josh? 1/2, right. 5/10 is equal to 1/2. Okay? How about this one? How do you read this one first? Olivia?
1/2500.
Right. Now with this 1, this refers to a whole number 1. So we have to write this as a mixed number. 1 and then write the fraction. 25. And what place is the 5 in? Bennett? The hundredths place. So write 25 hundredths. But we can't leave this as 25 hundredths. We have to reduce this also. Right, Nate? What would we reduce this to?
1/4.
Correct. Yep. Reduce this by dividing both by the greatest common factor, which is why we learned how to do that. And then we can get 1 and 1/4. Okay? So, converting decimals to fractions. Read the number and then write it in fraction form, making the place as the denominator. Okay? Now, what about going from fractions to decimals? Fractions to decimals. Does anyone remember what another meaning for this fraction bar is? What is this operation? Raiden?
Divide.
Divide, yeah, that means to divide. And we did that when we converted 42/7, for example. How did you get the mixed number or reduce this?
Use 7 divided by 42 divided by 7.
Right, right. 42 divided by 7 is 6. You already know that you have to divide the top number by the bottom number. Well, that's what you do to convert it to a decimal. Okay? Let's say that we have, instead of 42/6, let's say that we had 44/7. 44/7. What would we do?
Make it a mixed number, which is 6 and 2/7.
6 and 2/7. Now we can convert this to a decimal. And we have to divide 2 divided by 7. Now here's where you have to remember something, class. You don't put the biggest number in the house, you always put the top number in the house. The top number goes in the house like this when you're dividing. So it's 2 divided by 7. Okay? 2 divided by 7. Now, 7 doesn't go into the whole number 2, so what we have to do is put a decimal point and add a 0. Okay? And then divide. 7 into 20 goes how many times?
2.
2 times. 2 times 7 is 14. Remainder 6. Bring down another 0. 7 goes into 60.
8 times.
8 times. 8 times 7 is 56. Remainder 4. Bring down another 0. 5. 7 goes into 45 times. 35. Remainder 5. Now, when you are doing this division, if you get 3 to 3 places, you can stop. And you can round it to the nearest 100th. Okay? Because some decimals will go on and on and on and on in a random order. Okay? And so we call those, you don't have to keep dividing, okay? We call those irrational numbers, okay? What?
There's only 3 more places.
There's only 3 more places, but you can stop after 3 and then round it. All right, so how would we round this number to the nearest 100th?
Check with the last number before the 100th, so which is the 5 if it's 5 and over.
Yep.
Make it close to that one.
So then we would round the 8 up 1 more to 9. So 6.29. Okay? 6.29. Now, some numbers, when you divide them, like this one, 1/9, they're repeating decimals. Okay? If we were to do this, you would see that we get 1 divided by 9, put a decimal point, and 9 goes into 10 one time, remainder 1. Bring down the 0, and you get 10 again. So it goes in 1 time. What you're going to find is that it's 0.1111111 on forever, right? The 1 repeats. In fact, anytime you have a number over a 9, it's a repeating decimal. Yeah, so like 1/9 is 0.1 repeating. 2/9 is 0.2 repeating. 3/9 is 0.3 repeating.
No.
1/3. 1/3 is 0.3 repeating. 4/9 is 0.4 repeating. 5/9 is 0.5 repeating. 6/9 is 0.6 repeating, and so on and so on and so on.
Until you get to number 9.
Okay. So what we do is we use a repeating sign. When you find a pattern of numbers that repeats, you put a bar over those numbers that repeat. So you would write 1/9 is equal to 0.1 repeating. 0.1 repeating. Okay? And that's the answer. 1/9 equals 0.1 repeating. Or 1/10 repeating, you'd read that as. Okay? This bar above the number shows that that number repeats. Any questions on that? Okay. So, on your assignment, you have to write some fractions as mixed numbers in simplest form. You have to identify some points on a number line. You have to match the points to the decimal number. That's on the front side. And then on the back side, I want you to do 2 through 20 evens. Okay? So do all of the front side and then do the back side 2 through 20 evens for tomorrow. Okay?